Gentleman from California, Mr. McClintock, is recognized for 3 minutes in support of his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, I appreciate the opportunity. This amendment simply takes all of the policy reforms that are in the budget resolution and writes those savings into the reconciliation instructions. It doesn't change a single recommendation that we've been debating today. It simply operationalizes them. It's about $3.55 trillion after you deduct the interest costs and the non-reconcilable items under the Byrd Rule. That's the way the Budget Act is supposed to work. We set limits on mandatory spending, offer recommendations how to meet those limits, and then write those levels into the reconciliation instructions. Those instructions go to the authorizing committees in order to change the statutes that are driving that mandatory spending. They have a deadline to meet. If they don't meet the deadline, this committee can insert those directly into the reconciliation bill, and then it gets expedited consideration in the Senate. It's actually easier to change mandatory spending than it is to change discretionary spending because of the expedited consideration it gets in the Senate. And yet, in the decade that I've served in the Congress, this committee has never placed its policy recommendations in the actual reconciliation instructions. Instead, we promise them for next year, and then we pretend the budget's going to balance in 10 years. Well, with these instructions, it will balance in 10 years. Without them, it won't. And I want to emphasize there's nothing in them that we haven't already placed in the budget resolution. All the policies and savings are the same. The only difference is that this amendment places these savings in the instructions so that they can be implemented. It transfers these policy recommendations from promise into action. The budget is not an aspirational document. It is an operational document. The budget resolution is actually the most powerful fiscal tool we have to control spending, but it must be used that way. So let's do something worthy of the trust that our fellow citizens have given us. Clearly, most of our members can see the fiscal crisis looming ever larger in our country's path. They said as much yesterday and today. If we can see the danger and have within our hands the tools to avert that danger, there's no excuse for not using them. That's what this amendment is all about.